What is going on, guys? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand, and today I'm going to discuss racing franchises that desperately need a comeback. So what are these franchises that I'm talking about? These are racers that were a total blast to play back in their day. They were enjoyable, they were great, and for whatever reason, these games have just not had an entry for quite a long time. So that's what I'll be taking a look at today. So keep in mind that these racing franchises are my personal opinion only, and these are not going to be in any specific order. This is no top 10, top 5, whatever. These are just franchises that need to get a new entry. So without further ado, let's jump right in and take a look. Alright, so the first racing franchise that I want to talk about is Midnight Club. Midnight Club was such a fun racing franchise. From Dub Edition to Los Angeles, it was just an overall fun experience and just a great series of racers, right? These games allowed you to customize your car. You could go in, start street racing towards other opponents, and these games were just a total blast to play. Unfortunately, the last Midnight Club that ever was released was Midnight Club Los Angeles back in 2008. So now, since this video is being uploaded in 2024, it's been a very long time. It's just 4 years shy from being 20 years from the last time we've had a Midnight Club game. And unfortunately, it seems like Rockstar has thrown the Midnight Club franchise to the wayside and is more focused on Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. I feel like I speak for a large chunk of people that it would be great to have another Midnight Club game again. The next racer that's worth talking about on the list is F-Zero. Now, I realize that the argument could be made that F-Zero 99, which was released in 2023, is finally a new F-Zero entry into the series. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't consider that to be a true new entry into the F-Zero franchise. Technically, the last mainline F-Zero game was GX back on the GameCube, which was a fantastic game. Technically speaking as well, the last overall F-Zero game before 99 was F-Zero Climax on the Game Boy Advance, which was released exclusively in Japan. Now, it is really unfortunate that Nintendo has openly stated that they haven't put out a new F-Zero game just because they want to add something new and innovative or whatever. In my opinion, I don't think there's really much that needs to be changed with F-Zero. It just needs to just be fun, it needs to be more modern, and basically make it more like GX or F-Zero X, where it's more modernized and more fresh or whatever, which, like I said, I don't think there really needs to be changed much with F-Zero. I feel like I speak for a large population of the gaming community when I do say it would be nice to have a true new entry into the F-Zero franchise with a decent story, with some modern tweaks here and there to make it more modernized, where it actually does feel like a brand new F-Zero entry. So I really believe that F-Zero really could use a new proper entry into the franchise. So a pretty cool series that's absolutely worth talking about is Motor Storm. Now, Motor Storm, a lot of people will remember it as a launch title for the PlayStation 3 back in 2006. But of course, Motor Storm had other fun entries in it as well, such as Arctic Edge, Pacific Rift, and Apocalypse. Unfortunately, the last Motor Storm entry into the series was Motor Storm RC for the PS Vita back in 2012, which in my opinion was a pretty okay title. Wasn't bad, wasn't great, but it was just alright. And unfortunately, it seems like Motor Storm seems to be another Sony-owned IP that Sony has just thrown by the wayside and has seemed to have completely been forgotten about, which is unfortunate because, in my opinion, it's been a very fun series, and it is sad to see such a great series just be forgotten like the way that it is. Continuing the theme when it comes to off-road racing games is ATV Off-Road Fury. Now, if my memory serves me right, the last ATV game was released back on the PS2, and it was ATV Off-Road Fury 4. Now, even though ATV Off-Road Fury is an off-road racing game, it is also an extreme sports title. And unfortunately, it seems like extreme sports games really to have seemed to be forgotten about, which is disappointing, is because ATV Off-Road Fury, in my opinion, was a pretty fun series to play. I really enjoy the games into it, and it would be nice to see another Off-Road Fury game into some crisp 4K graphics with that next-gen treatment put into it. I personally would feel like it would be a pretty fun experience, but of course, just as mentioned before, when it comes to MotorStorm, seems to be another Sony IP that Sony has just completely forgotten about. Next up is Full Auto. Now, Full Auto is an absolute fun racer to play. It is essentially if you put Twisted Metal and Burnout together, and there you get Full Auto. It is a blast to play. It is just pure mindless destruction while racing against other opponents, where you're basically destroying your environment around you. You're taking down like your opponents. It's an overall fun game. It is really unfortunate that the Full Auto games only got 2 entries, which was Full Auto 1 on the 360 and then Full Auto 2 on the PlayStation 3. With just how fun and mindless and just addictive that Full Auto is, it really is unfortunate that such a fun game with 2 entries would only last for only 2 games. I am just begging for more. And continuing on with the theme when it comes to mindless destruction is Burnout. Now, the Burnout games were an absolute blast to play back when they were a thing. And it is really unfortunate that the last Burnout entry happens to be just a remaster, which is Burnout Paradise Remastered. Now, I would love to play a next-gen Burnout game and just relive some of that carnage of trying to take down your opponent while continuing on with the race, and not just with the racing aspect. I want to enjoy those moments of when I'm launching off of a pad, just blowing up other cars, just causing pure mindless destruction, crashing into other cars just as I'm going down the laps and all that. It was just a very fun game when it came to just its overall aspect, and I love the mindless destruction. I gotta say, it is pretty disappointing that EA has just thrown the Burnout series by the wayside, because I would love to play a next-gen Burnout game. Now, I am a huge fan of arcade racers, so I gotta bring up Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer, in my opinion, is one of the best arcade racers out there. It was an absolute blast playing the different Ridge Racer games over the years, and it is really unfortunate that Namco seems to have forgotten about this great racing franchise, with its last entry being back in 2016, which was Ridge Racer Draw and Drift, which was an iOS game. Now, to me, it seems like arcade racers seem to be a dying breed of games when it comes to its genre, which is sad and unfortunate. But I still do have to say that it would really be nice that we could get another Ridge Racer. And frankly, this is a series that I believe just cannot die just because of just how great of a racing franchise it has been. Alright, so next up is Sega GT. Now, I realize that Forza and Gran Turismo are basically the top tier when it comes to driving simulators, but I would love to see another Sega GT game. I like the fact that not only is it like Forza and Gran Turismo, but it also has its sort of arcadey racer elements to it. And overall, I've always felt like Sega has always put out pretty decent racing titles. I've just loved the Sega GT games, and it sucks that this is another franchise that seems to have gone by the wayside when it comes to racers, because like I said, I like the fact that it's like Forza and Gran Turismo with a little bit of some arcade racing elements sprinkled in, and then you've got Sega GT. It was very fun, and I would love to see another Sega GT game sometime brought back into the future. And finally, the last game that I want to talk about, which is another Sega-owned franchise, is Sega Rally. This is just like WRC and Dirt, but plays more like an arcade racer. Now, granted, I'm a fan of the Dirt series, and I haven't played the WRC games, but what I can say, I have played Sega Rally and do own a few Sega Rally games in my collection, and I do have to say, they are very fun games. I like how they play just like Dirt, but they also play like a very fun arcade racer. They were fun games. games. And frankly, I would love to see Sega throw out another Sega Rally game sometime in the future, because those games were just absolute bangers. If you haven't played a Sega Rally game, I absolutely recommend that you guys check it out sometime, because if you like dirt and if you like arcade racers, Sega Rally is going to be right up your alley. And I would love to see Sega put out another rally game sometime. Alright, so what did you guys think of my list when it came to racers that desperately need a comeback? Feel free to comment in the comment section down below if you think there are any racing franchises that I just haven't mentioned, simply forgot. Keep in mind, when I made this list, I only talked about racing games that I personally played. So if there's a certain racer that I didn't bring up, there's also a very good chance that I just simply haven't played it yet. If you like the video, please give it a like. Helps boost it up in the YouTube algorithm so more viewers just like you can watch videos just like this. And feel free to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this where I talk about game related subjects and show off my game collection and talk about different tips when it comes to game collecting. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.